You're mastering the sourdough. Your cold brew is homemade. You can flip a pancake without touching a spatula. Yes, your culinary skills have improved over the past year. But don't stop there. Talk to the experts at Best Buy to get the latest tech to take your food to the next level. Cooking chops unlocked. Details at bestbuy.com.
When you vote in Virginia, you can vote with confidence knowing every election is safe, secure, and accessible. Our certified election registrars and volunteers follow strict processes and procedures to make sure every vote counts. These safeguards include validating registered voters during early, absentee, and election day voting, voting machines that are never connected to the internet, and ballot boxes that are locked and sealed. Learn more at vote.virginia.gov.
This is episode 332 of Aloha Mora for October 9th, 2021. Welcome to another episode of Aloha Mora, MuggleNet.com's in-depth exploration of the Harry Potter series. I am Grace Candido Beecher. We're still waiting on Irvin Cateman. He's on his way.
And I'm Katie Carty-Hiley. And I'm very excited to introduce our guest for this episode. We have Hannah, is it Elsie? Is that how you pronounce it?
Elsie.
Elsie. Excellent. Hannah Elsie,
Woo!
the producer of a very new show, which sounds amazing, and I cannot wait to stream it, called Dumbledore is So Gay. So please, Hannah, introduce yourself and tell us about this amazing show.
Hello everybody. I'm delighted to be here. So I'm Hannah. I'm guesting on the podcast all the way from London town, where I've just produced a new show which is called Dumbledore is So Gay, and it's a show about Harry Potter fans growing up and coming out in that period of time we all remember when the books were coming out and J.K. Rowling announced that Dumbledore was gay. And it's about people exploring their sexuality whilst being Harry Potter fans. And we just finished a run at the Pleasance Theatre in London, and it was critically acclaimed, which was fantastic, including 5 stars from the Daily Express, which is a national newspaper here in the UK.
Nice.
And I'm incredibly excited to be able to talk about the show on this podcast with Grace and Katie.
Incredible, exquisite, wonderful. I can't wait to see this damn show.
Samesies. So for those of you who do not live in London, just like Grace and I, you can stream it.
I know, we're the worst, right?
Yes.
We got to get ourselves to London like right now.
Yes. So for people who don't live in London, the show is available on a website called Ticket Co. And you can stream the show via Ticket Co. So it's ticketco.events. And then from there, if you type in Dumbledore is So Gay into the search bar, you'll be able to find the stream of the show that is available for 2 weeks from the 4th of October. So ticketco.events, type in Dumbledore is So Gay into the search bar, and that's where you can access the stream of the production.
And we'll definitely put a link to that in the show notes as well.
Yes, please, yeah.
It's such an easy phrase to remember because it's literally what I'm thinking all the time. It's just Dumbledore is so gay. He's so gay. It's the thought that puts me to sleep every night.
The new Fantastic Beasts is the Secrets of Dumbledore, which is the title of the new Fantastic Beasts, has just been announced, and
yes.
The cast and I and the crew have just been like having a laugh because it's
we all know the secret of Dumbledore.
Yeah, we all know the secrets already. She said, you know.
He's not keeping them very well either. I don't know how we didn't get clued in on it earlier.
Right?
I mean, heeled purple boots with a purple robe. I mean, like this the man is fabulous. What were we thinking?
I love that it is, we were talking before we started recording how it's not a play that's like set in Hogwarts. It's not Hogwarts students. It's just everyday muggles like us that are huge Harry Potter fans, but using Harry Potter as a means to like get to know yourself better or tap into who you are as a person and navigate, you know, changes as you age and mature, etc. So I think that's just a wonderful take on, you know, anything really, but just society today, or, you know, growing up, becoming an adult. I assume that it's like the actors, what ages are they portraying in the play?
The main characters in the play, the teenagers, are aged between 12 and 18.
Okay.
But our wonderful actors, as you'll see when you watch the show, also double up, and they multi-role as, for example, parents who are meant to be in their 50s, and a French teacher at the school that they're studying at, and at one point a vicar.
Nice.
So they've got a huge range, and they're absolutely fantastic actors. But the story, is based around those years of 12 to 18, where of course you change a lot, and when you may not know yourself fully, and so of course you use literature and art and film and Harry Potter to help you navigate the world and relate to people around you, and that's very much what Jack, the protagonist of the show, does.
That's such a beautiful thing. I was literally just thinking of that as like Harry Potter is like one of the very good ways of finding your own identity, and you could use so many different forms of literature to do it. But the fact that your play centers around that is very cool, I think.
Yes, I'm so excited.
Sounds like some very deep thoughts. Are you perhaps a Ravenclaw?
Am I a Ravenclaw?
Are you?
Oh. No, I'm not. Oh, I'm really flattered though that you thought I was a Ravenclaw.
You're super smart. I don't see why not.
Nice.
I'm actually a Slytherin with Ravenclaw as my secondary house.
Oh, hell yes.
Yeah.
Fellow snakes.
Yeah. What is it? Pride and ambition. And then the brains enables that. So
I'm glad that you've got the brains part of this, because like I am Slytherin with Gryffindor being secondary. So I'm just cunning, cool. But none of the brains involved. I just do things.
You're very gung ho is what we'd say.
I go all in and then regret later.
So that's me. That's my personality fully exposed now on a global podcast. So now everybody knows.
Beautiful, wonderful. There's no shame in being Slytherin.
No,
wonderful thing.
There is no shame. Absolutely not.
Not at all. And I assume you've been a Harry Potter fan for quite some time.
I have. Yes, I've been a Harry Potter fan since I picked up. I think when I was maybe 7 or 8, and I picked up the first book. I remember everybody at school was really into it, and me being a proud Slytherin, although I didn't know at the time, was like, oh God, what's this all about? Everybody, you know.
God, if that ain't a mood.
Yeah. I was a full mood. I was like, oh God, what's this Harry Potter thing? And then I think my mum left the book out because she'd been reading it and thought, oh, Hannah will probably really like this. And I just picked up it was the first book, and I remember I was on like page 2 and I was just hooked, and I was like, oh, okay, I see what this is about now. And then raced through books 1 to 3, I think, were out at the time. That's correct, yes. And then did the waiting at midnight, dressing up for all of the subsequent books, apart from book 7, when like book 7 was delivered, because by that point, like, people were delivering books and Amazon was doing that. And I remember I took a Pro Plus pill, which is a caffeine pill. So it's like the equivalent of drinking maybe like 3 cups of coffee or something.
Whoa.
And took that to like stay up to read the 7th book, and then ran out of Pro Plus before like before the penultimate chapter, then fell asleep. I know I was I remain gutted. And then read the final 2 chapters when I woke up from my kind of like drug-induced haze. So not
the healthiest way to do that, but I admire your drivenness and your ambition. You truly are more of a Slytherin than I am.
Yeah. So yeah, I am a big Potter fan, and I feel honestly incredibly honoured to be on a MuggleNet podcast, being somebody who would come home from school and go on MuggleNet and read fan theories and submit my kind of quotes to the caption competition, which never won. I never won the caption competition.
I'm gonna yell at Eric for that.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Let's go yell at Eric. Let's all do it. Let's go gang up on Eric.
Reading fan fiction on MuggleNet and everything. So I feel like this. I honestly feel like I have made it. Aww. The fact that I'm now here, I'm like,
it's all come full circle.
I think I've made it.
Absolutely. Oh my God, we are so happy to have you.
Hey listeners, I'm Irvin Cateman, and I'm just chiming in here after we recorded the rest of the episode. I was a little late, sorry about that. But anyway, what are we going to be talking about on this episode in the past, future, both, maybe? Anyway.
Glad you asked her.
Time is irrelevant.
This episode is a chapter revisit. We're going to Order of the Phoenix, Chapter 18, Dumbledore's Army. Read before listening to get maximum enjoyment. And for even maximum enjoyment, I don't know how to make that. Mega maximum. There we go.
Nice.
Mega maximum enjoyment. Listen to our previous episode, number 96, where we tackled this chapter the first time with hosts Caleb, Kat, and Michael, and guest host Allie Wood, or as we know her now, host Allison Sigurd. And that episode was recorded from LeakyCon.
Allison!
Was that Allison's first Alohomora appearance?
It might have been.
Allison! Very
Baby
cute.
Allison.
Oh, fabulous.
Yeah.
Also, she is baby. She's much younger than I am. She is baby.
And also, this episode is sponsored by Vincent Vega on Patreon. Yay! Claps for Vincent Vega! Listeners, if you want an ad-free version of Alohomora, among other cool perks, you can head over to our Patreon at patreon.com/Alohomora and become a sponsor for as little as $2 a month. And our Patreon is the exclusive place to get bonus discussions, behind-the-scene glimpses, extra episodes, all kinds of cool stuff. So go on and check that out at patreon.com/Alohomora to find out more.
And we just updated our tiers.
We updated our tiers, and can I just say, I have been updating the Discord, and we are having some fun in there, guys. So y'all need to get in there, because I'm posting up artwork, I'm posting up cosplays. It's a lot of fun.
It really is.
Y'all want to get in there. It's gonna be good. You know, like the Hercules commercial back from the 90s. Indoor plumbing, it's gonna be big. There's such bad references in this episode. Oh my God, they're very particular. All right,
Did you just say that Hercules is a bad reference? Because how dare?
It's a beautiful reference. I'll take that back. I'll eat my words.
Hercules is my favorite Disney movie.
Wow.
It's so entertaining. It's so good.
Love it to bits.
You know what else is entertaining though, Irvin?
What, Grace?
This shout out Maxima!
That was a Maxima shout out. You're right.
I've got 2 of them. I've got 2 that are really good.
Whoa.
I stole them. I stole them from the comment section of episode 330, the Sorting Hat revisit. It's Hogwarts, not Harshwarts. The first one, they had been discussing during the episode exactly how many times Peeves directly affects the plot of the story. And Davy B. Jones 999 chimed in. They were so kind as to actually go through and count them. So thank you, by the way. And it's fabulous. The whole post is great. So I would recommend reading through. But I took a clip from the end where that's all the times I could think of. That is 1 from book 1, 2 from book 2, 2 from book 5, and 1 from book 6. So that's 6 times that he directly affects the main plot. And I thought that was so cool that they went through and actually counted all that.
Aw, thanks,
so very
David.
fun.
You're the best.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Well
Thank you.
done. Thank you for doing the work.
Yes. Thank you for doing the work. And then there's a secondary comment from Dream Quaffle, friend of the show. He had been discussing exactly like dietary issues when it comes to Hogwarts students. And I thought it was a really interesting take that he had on it. So he said, I know it has been discussed on this and other shows what they do for vegetarian/vegan students or students with food allergies. And in my headcanon, the parent or guardian of the student sends an owl to Hogwarts to let the school know that their student has a special circumstance. And the school would provide them with a meal ticket for that student. So every meal, they would place the meal ticket on their plate and let the house elves know exactly what they need. And I thought that this was interesting. I really loved it, and I thought that maybe the meal ticket idea was a little bit cumbersome. Like, you'd have to have 1 billion meal tickets to do that. So I thought that having like I don't know, I'm always inspired by tattoos, and it doesn't always have to do with Death Eaters here. Like, you could have like a temporary, like almost henna style tattoo, non-permanent, where like the student sits down and like the house elves will know by that tattoo on their wrist, if they like hold it above their plate, exactly what they need. So that's pretty cool.
I can't see parents being too chuffed with like, hey, give your 11-year-old a 7-year-long tattoo.
It's okay. How cool is I think that if I knew that the tattoo was cool, I might be okay with it.
I mean, the kids would be down. But I think some of the mommies and daddies might not.
Look, I'm going to speak with my husband. We'll discuss it. Because I think we both would be on board if we had a child, just having them get a tattoo for when they were at school.
Totes.
If they were like vegetarian.
Fair enough.
I'm thinking of those like medical alert bracelets that like old people wear. That's so mean of me to say only old people wear those. That's not the case at all. A lot of people wear those.
Yeah.
I apologize for ageism. That was terrible of me. But it could be something like that, but it's magical in nature. Some kind of just bracelet that communicates.
The less extreme version of what I just said.
Yes.
How dare you, Katie? We need to go extreme. It's extreme or go home.
I mean,
basically.
I have no
I'm with
problem
Katie.
with tattoos.
I'm with Katie. Let's bling out the kids.
Oh, yes. Bedazzle
Ooh,
them.
I like that. Can you bedazzle the bracelet?
To quote Kinky Boots, give me glitter and a hot glue gun and I can make the world a pretty place.
Speaking of pretty places, if you love Alohomora and want to help us out, if you could please leave us a 5-star review on whatever platform you listen to the show on, that would be so fantastic. We will pick our favorites and we will read them out on upcoming episodes. And thank you ahead of time for all of your support. We love y'all. Mwah.
We love you.
And listeners, now I'm going back in the past where I am fighting my way through the New York City subway system, but you'll hear from me in a bit.
3 turns should do it. Chapter Revisit.
Order of the Phoenix. Chapter 18. Dumbledore's Army.
So since Irvin is not here to read the wonderful chapter summary that he wrote, we are going to have Hannah do it because she has such a beautiful voice and has the perfect accent for it. So take it away.
Under cover of silencing charms, the trio discusses Sirius's narrow escape from Umbridge's flu interference. Hermione questions Sirius's judgment, and Harry realizes he is now privy to Voldemort's mood swings. A decked-out Dobby tells Harry about the Room of Requirement, and Harry convenes the first meeting of the DA there. After some administrative decisions, who's leader, what's their group name, Harry begins teaching his classmates his signature disarming charm as a glimmer of hope finally lightens the gloom of Harry's 5th year.
That gave me chills.
Move over, Stephen Fry.
That sounded too professional. We're going to have to start over and make it sound worse.
That was really good. I'm like, you're going to be like an audiobook
Too much, too good. I'm sorry.
No,
we got to do it again.
Gotta be an audiobook narrator now. It's gotta happen. I need to hear more of your voice. So, I guess I can start off with my couple of funny observations from the very, very beginning of this chapter. And then, Grace, you can take it away with all of your fantastic actual, let's talk about these main points.
I like your notes. Don't put down your notes. They're fun.
No.
Well, the first thing that popped into my head, because as I've mentioned before on the podcast, when I first read through all of these books, I did not pay attention to the chapter art at all because I thought there were going to be spoilers and I did not want to spoil myself for the chapter ahead. So I just didn't even look at them. I just moved past. Don't even know if I read chapter titles. Probably not.
Okay, just to say here, because it's grim in the UK, we don't even have chapter art, okay? So I don't even know what you're talking about when you say the chapter art is cute. I'm like, what art?
So are they not allowing you happiness in the UK as well? Is this like these small little slivers of joy? It's a tiny bit.
It's cutbacks due to Brexit, I'm afraid. We can't have chapter art.
I'm going to look it up for you right now. Please ignore me.
Oh, yes. Please do. Yeah. I've never seen any chapter art. We don't have this in our editions, I'm afraid.
Oh, I keep forgetting that.
No, it's too serious.
Yeah, exactly. It's
horrible. Bad.
Because everything's really intellectual here. We can't have some cute pictures, which is sad.
This is what we're talking about.
Oh,
and for the listeners, it's a little Dobby with a bunch of little hats on his head, and a lot of scars.
A lot of scars.
It's so cute.
And yes, that was my observation. Is this chapter art is so cute. And
it is cute. Yeah,
I've seen people cosplay as Dobby and other house elves before, but I have never seen anyone.
We've seen Irvin cosplay as Dobby, haven't we?
And he's done Creature.
Someone.
Yeah, he's done Creature. I don't know if he's done Dobby. He's amazing as Creature, though.
It's very funny.
But I've never seen anyone cosplay this version of Dobby with, a bunch of hats stacked on top of their head. Like, you could use a wire of some sort to make them all stick together and, stay on your head.
It is really cute.
Yeah, a bunch of scars, bunch of socks. I think this would be amazing. And I now need this in my life.
This is Marie Grand Prix, right?
Yes.
That's the author for these, or not author, the artist for these particular little bits.
Yeah.
I will say her work, I loved it from the beginning, but it even got progressively better throughout the series.
Yeah.
I was so impressed by all of this, the little chapter artworks. I'm the opposite of you, Katie. I would look at it and be like, when is this coming into the chapter? What is it trying to tell me? I must know.
All I had for that was the chapter title. So no, exactly. Get out the tiny violin.
Give me a second. Let me get my violin.
Yeah. Wait a second. Yeah. But it's the illustrations are incredible.
Well, I'm glad that you've now been able to experience it, and all of them are available online. If you are ever curious, you can definitely look those up and just have fun. Just look through all of them and be like, oh my God, I've been missing this my whole life. I'm so sad and underprivileged, but now I'm made up for it in my adulthood.
We paid for it because they thought we weren't smart enough to know what a philosopher is.
Yes.
They're like, they need the pictures as well as we gotta change the text. There's no way this can
They
stay.
did do that.
And you know what? Point taken. We might be that dumb. I don't know.
The sorcerer's stone, not the philosopher's stone.
I like the word sorcerer. What can I say? I'm not at all opposed.
And then they never
legendary
use it
artifact
again.
or a pretty word. I don't know.
It's funny that they call Nicholas Flamel a philosopher, because that's not really what he does from his chocolate frog card, if I remember.
I know.
I think he is a sorcerer. He's an alchemist.
Yeah.
So we were correct in
so
the
you
end,
were,
I
yeah.
see.
So you kind of were right. I'm like,
so stupidity works in our favor.
yeah.
Thank goodness. This is why I'm Slytherin Gryffindor and not Slytherin Ravenclaw. So.
And then my next, not really a silly point, but just next point I had to make, was because it's the first thing they talk about in the very beginning of the chapter, and I was just like, oh yeah, rah, rage. not that we ever need more evidence for how awful Umbridge is as an individual, but animal abuse is like next level unforgivable for me. And I think it often gets overlooked in conversations about her as a character. Like, we talk about the child abuse and just the other terrible things she did, but somehow we forget that she attacked Hedwig, an owl, and broke his wing, or her wing, sorry. So not cool, Umbridge. Like, just get off, just go away, witch. I can't be around you. Just no.
This is yet another reason why I love her so much. She did the thing. She's horrible. She's so horrible, and it makes it so easy for her to be a villain, and I love it. She's such a good villain.
She is a good
She's
villain.
perfect.
Ugh.
It's so much fun to like just go against her every time, but I feel like she did the exact thing that they do in every single movie that you see, just to make sure that people know that they're the villain. Like they'll kick the dogs, basically.
Yeah.
You have to show them kicking the cat or kicking the dog in order for the audience to be like abundantly clear, this person is a bad one. It's okay if this person gets hit by a car because we don't care about them.
But don't forget, she also has plates that have gambling kittens on in her office.
Yes.
So she's kind of, I don't know, like maybe she's really likes kitten. Yeah, she's pro kitten, but
pro-kitten, anti-owl.
Yeah. I mean, she's just really a tool of the Ministry, and it just shows how corrupt things have become. And also something that surprised me reading this chapter was like how much the Ministry is able to interfere at Hogwarts in general. I was like, isn't this kind of shocking? But then I guess you don't like pay fees to go to Hogwarts, so the Hogwarts is funded by the Ministry.
Oh,
really?
Good point.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to pay to go, so they're not an independent institution, really. They are under the thumb of the Ministry.
Yep.
So
under the Board of Governors, in which Lucius Malfoy is a part of.
Exactly, under the Board of Governors. So
Dun-dun-dun.
I think this is just a reminder of that like Hogwarts isn't actually independent, even though Dumbledore may like to pretend it is.
What a great way of introducing also that like people's words and intentions don't necessarily align all the time, and they're usually hiding something behind their words. Like, this is a little off topic because this is another chapter completely with Umbridge, but the fact that like what she says is just, there's an underlying meaning that's just awful, and this is part of the underlying meaning, her control of the school, really. But yeah, let's jump in to the charms classroom
real quick, because I thought it was kind of hilarious though. Like we get this horrible, image in our minds of her attacking Hedwig, and then right after, like as they're talking about it, poor Harry is so angry that he's like squeezing his frog almost to death, like his eyes are popping out, and Hermione has to be like, Harry, watch it. So he's not doing it on purpose, but he's kind of abusing an animal too. So it's like, yeah, it was just a funny juxtaposition for me. Like,
I mean, a lot of animals get abused in these books.
Yeah, they really do. Also, keep in mind, a frog looks a lot like Umbridge.
Oh,
so
yeah.
it could be kind of symbolic there.
Oh, yes, because she is often described as a frog, isn't she? Yes.
Or a toad.
Oh,
or a toad. Yeah,
one.
that's good. Yeah, that's a good lit crit point.
Yes.
I love it. Yeah.
Okay, Grace, take us into the charms classroom.
Let's hop into this charms classroom where our golden trio are just discussing how terrible Umbridge is.
Also, just to come in here, I like how you put the golden trio as HRH. As in,
I feel like I stole that from someone. I'm not going to take credit for it.
Royalty. It's very good. It made me laugh.
I hadn't thought about it that way. I like it.
I feel really stupid. Is that a royalty thing?
Yes, HRH, the Duke of Sussex, HRH, the Duke of Cambridge. It stands for His Royal Highness.
What?
Or
I'm the dumbest person in this room. I apologize.
No, you're not. You're not. Don't worry.
We don't have those kind over here.
I shouldn't know about this. It's because the class system's been banged into me ever since I was born. So, but it stands for His Royal Highness or Her Royal Highness. So that made me laugh because I was like, HRH, is that deliberate? Is that like the trio are royalty? Or just Harry, Ron, and Hermione. But I love it. It made me laugh.
I am so happy I know this now. I had no idea at the time. Thank you for telling me.
Yes, we're totally going to call them royalty from now on every time we shorten their names like this.
His Royal Highness Harry, Ron, and Hermione are discussing how Sirius was caught in the fire, or almost caught in the fire. And it always amazed me. And I know that they say that there's enough going on in Charms that like it covers up what they're talking about. But like, this is also from Harry's point of view, and he's not at this point in his life. He's still getting his observant feet. He's still working his way up to that.
True.
So, I feel like there could be people listening in, and he just thinks that it's too loud for other people to see what's going on. But I love how Irvin wrote this note here that, like, me as well, I for sure would be the one flunking Charms, because every week I would just be like listening in on their conversations.
You won't believe what I heard.
Oh God. But it's during even their free period, they say, like, they agreed not to say Sirius's name. It was a very particular thing in this book that they're not supposed to say it. Mm-hmm. And they even like say it in this chapter when they're in their free period. And that's like a huge oversight. They shouldn't be talking about this around people. Like, he could get arrested.
Yep. Oh, poor naive kids.
Yeah.
They're so distraught.
I think something I really like on rereading the books is like how kind of young and naive Harry is. And I guess when you read them for the first time, you're like, oh, well, you know, and then you realize Harry has all these flaws. Like, he's kind of overly courageous and, you know, a little bit stupid and doesn't think things through before he does them. And you're like, yeah, you're fallible too. And I quite like
this
that.
Is the book, right?
Yeah.
This is the book for Harry's flaws.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Which, like, I find to be so interesting, because during my last reread when I was taking notes, I feel like he's like, so many times we keep calling Caps Lock Harry like the worst thing in the world, when really, like, he's just been channeling bad vibes from Tom's head for a full year. Mm-hmm. And I feel like we kind of forget that not all those emotions are Harry. Like, a lot of the frustration and anger that he feels throughout even this chapter, when he's talking about like feeling certain ways or like honing in on the Voldemind, like that's a lot of his stuff isn't his.
Also, heroes don't have to be perfect. There's that.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. Yep.
They're boring when they're that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is really funny that they're just like, yeah, so this thing about not
Snuffles.
Padfoot, Snuffles. Which name are we going with today? I don't know.
They're so bad at this. I feel like the whole Gryffindor tower knows who they're talking to, and they just don't say anything.
Good old Gryffindors.
Thank God they
keep
don't.
their buddy secrets.
Mm-hmm.
Get running this fall at Dunkin' with $2 medium iced coffees from 2 to 6 p.m. Try any of Dunkin's delicious iced coffee, like their signature original blend. Or treat yourself to mocha, caramel, or the fall favorite, pumpkin. Always freshly brewed, made just the way you like it. Make time for happy hour and enjoy a $2 medium iced coffee from 2 to 6 p.m. Washington, D.C. runs on Dunkin'. Participation may vary. Limited time offer. Exclusions apply.
I also see like Ron and Hermione like arguing here again. It's just the sexual tension is like, wow.
What a teenage thing to do. Like, I always felt like their relationship, even as it evolved together, I always felt like there was something very teenage about the way that they handled each other.
There is, which is why I'm really surprised that in The Cursed Child they're still together. I'm like, would they really be still together? I find that like quite unless like he grows up a lot and like she gets off her high horse a lot. Like, are they really going to be able to have a functional relationship? And it's also bizarre that, like, everybody who... this is, like, the 19 years later bit. But it's funny how, like, everybody who was dating in school is now, like, married to the person they were dating in school.
Yeah, I think Draco. Draco does a fast one. He pulls a fast one on us.
He does. Yeah. But like, everybody else. And I'm thinking, wow, that's certainly, like, yeah... I'm not.
Wow, how like real
I'm
life
not,
is.
I'm
This
not
is hilarious that I'm
married to
making
the
fun of
person I
this
was
because
dating in school. Yeah, are you married to the person you were dating in school?
I was never dating Nick in school, but I met him in school.
Well, there
so
we
it's
go.
kind of like we've been friends for ages. We were not dating at that time, though, which is, I think, for the best because, like, this is a completely off-topic issue, but I was not ready for dating until way later than high school.
Oh, same girl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what being ace will do to you. Like, you think that you're ready for these situations, and you're wildly out of, like, your complete readiness for anything. But back to the chapter. I'm trying to read through everyone's notes. And if anything, once he gets on, we'll just bother him to go back to it.
Yeah, he's
But
got some good
why
ones.
don't we have a serious discussion, everyone?
Like, yeah.
What do y'all think about serious?
Oh, very good.
What are your serious thoughts?
What-
I'm gonna put Hannah on the spot and make her go first.
Yeah. Well, I think there's definitely truth in what they're saying here, that he is living life through them. I also think that, well, it's very clear that him and James were bullies, because we learn about that later, don't we? That they were very mean to Snape. So I think I remember when I was reading the books feeling very satisfied when Harry goes back in the pensive I think that's in the 7th book, and he sees them bullying him, because of course he just thinks that, like, his dad and Sirius can do no wrong, and of course everybody's fallible and has faults, and Sirius definitely has like I think a slightly unhealthy attachment to Harry. But then what do you expect? He's been in prison for ages. But it's a bit odd when he's like, the thing that saved me from the Dementors, Harry, was thinking about you. And I'm just a bit like, oh man, that's like an intense situation for Harry to walk into when he's never had a family. Mm-hmm. Or, well, he's had a family, but the Dursleys were horrible. I mean, they were child abusers, effectively.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, big yes on that.
You know, which is awful. Yeah, but they are child abusers. And then to walk into somebody who's like completely attached to him, you can see why it's so seductive for Harry.
Yeah, Katie. What are your serious thoughts?
Well, serious thoughts about Sirius Black. I feel like I probably say something different every time I'm questioned about Sirius, because I know I have expressed opinions on him in the past and I don't remember what they were. So if I completely contradict myself now, oh well, I'm sorry.
We're bound to do that.
We are.
Almost all the time.
And it doesn't even necessarily mean I don't still think whatever I thought back then, but I might have a different perspective for some reason, because as we age and go through different life experiences, our own perceptions and judgments of these characters change along with that. I'm trying to think of what COVID could teach us about Sirius. So like, he was in lockdown for, was it 2 years? Wait, how long was he in Grimmauld Place? Or was it?
I think it was like 1 year, wasn't it?
Okay.
Am I crazy?
No, I think you're right. But Sirius Black, unlike me, is a very I just lost the word. Extrovert. There we go. He is a very extroverted individual. So he needs social contact. He needs people to talk to. He needs things to do to keep him excited, to keep him happy. Like, I think when we were talking about this before we started recording, Grace and I were both like, the pandemic, nothing really changed for us. Like, we were already at home all the time, so no big. Yeah. But for Sirius Black, who, he had been stuck in prison for 12 years. Am I getting that?
13 years 13, it was.
Thank
in
you.
Azkaban.
I knew I was getting the quote wrong. So he had already been locked up.
Sorry.
Which is even worse than locked down. He was locked up for 13 years. He finally gets out, and then he has to go into lockdown, like immediately, because he can't. He's still, his name has not been cleared. So it's like the COVID numbers are still so high that he can't leave his freaking house, and he's sick of it. He's so freaking sick of it. And I feel like I can identify with that feeling so much more now than I could have a year or 2 years ago. because I am an introvert and I do spend the majority of my time in my house, but even I'm so freaking sick of my house at this point. Like, I just want to go to the movies or a restaurant or shopping, and I'm not a shopper. Like, I'm not one of those people who I have to go shopping all the time. Like, that's not my thing.
Yeah.
But over the summer when COVID numbers were really low, I legit went to Goodwill for a few hours and bought some jeans.
Irvin's here.
Hi!
Irvin busts
Hey,
in.
Irvin. Hey, Irvin.
Irvin, where'd you go?
Irvin, are you okay?
I see he's in the call, but I don't hear him.
That's all right. In the meantime, I'll just pop in. So, my personal opinions on Sirius, I was saying before that it changes according to exactly what part of the story we're on. Because if he has more freedom, he's a better godfather. The less freedom he gets, the worse he is. And I think it's because it ramps up the anxiety within him. And that's pretty clear. And also there's Severus that makes the situation so much worse, where he's baiting him the whole time about how comfy and cozy he has it in that house, which is not necessarily true because there's a lot of trauma that he's going through at that point. And also his mind is almost, I think, stunted by the years that he has been in prison.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
I will say that him baiting the trio into doing certain things is not acceptable in the slightest. And I think that he's not, like, I think that there's a certain amount of him that thinks that Harry is James. And, like, I think that's kind of that's not a super hot take because I feel like it's pretty clear in the text.
It's extremely unhealthy, though.
Oh, for sure,
Yeah,
it is.
like,
there's nothing about that that's super healthy.
He needs to go to wizard therapy, really.
I feel like there's so many situations that could have been solved by this.
It's like, do they not have therapists?
I don't think that
not.
they do.
Not so much. No.
This is the list of jobs that needs to happen.
Yeah,
And also there's
I'm trying to... Oh, sorry. I'm still going back to this COVID
go ahead.
Thing. So Severus is the person that's saying that COVID is a hoax, and why are you locking yourself up in your house for no reason? That's
There's
Severus
no
to-
science to prove it. These masks don't do anything.
They're totally making up these dead bodies. There aren't any dead people. What are you talking about? It's all a conspiracy.
I hate it so much, Katie. Like, if you could see my face right now, I'm just ready. I'm ready to collapse into the earth. Oh, and one more thing I wanted to say is that he's been in the run, like, since he left prison. He's been constantly in motion. For him to suddenly take a break and just be paused in this one place, I could see that being, like, a very stressful thing because he's so used to people hunting him down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
His extroversion was being able to, like, let fly for a while. He took a little vacation. He went and saw the world a bit, and then all of a sudden he's just in another form of prison.
Yeah. Saw the world in as much as fleeing the authorities.
Yes.
Yeah. But now that we have Irvin here, guess what, everybody? Irvin's here.
Hello.
Hello,
listeners.
Irvin.
Oh, it's good to be back. And also on the topic of Sirius, like, after a pandemic, I have so much more empathy for him. Because, like, being locked up at home alone without fun things to do, it really, really sucks.
Mm-hmm.
And you are an extrovert like Sirius, unlike me. So you get him even better.
Yes, and, like, listen, we're not cut out for pandemics. We're really
we're not. Absolutely not. No way.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Hannah.
Yeah. It's been horrible.
Yeah. Because like, in, like, prior times, like, reading this, I'd be like, well, yeah, academically, like, I imagine it must really suck to be in Sirius's shoes. And now I'm just like, no, it's the worst feeling in the world. Everyone leave Sirius alone. You don't know his pain.
I love how in this conversation, it's just me and Katie, like, sipping tea, like, oh, we're fine. It'll be fine.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, well, ever since we've been allowed out, I've been kind of been making the most of, like, social life and everything. It's like, thank God I can finally get out again and see people.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like 4th of July, I was like in a huge crowd, like, watching the fireworks, and I was like, I'm in a crowd. I get to be in a crowd again. Oh, thank God.
Yeah. Yeah, talking of like, Quidditch. Talking of teams and team sports and crowds.
Oh, yeah. Angelina
Quidditch.
with Quidditch.
So, basically, after Charms class is over, we get to see Angelina, like, in her element as Quidditch captain. And so, first thing she tells us is that she got permission for the Quidditch team to reform by going to McGonagall, and she thinks that McGonagall appealed directly to Dumbledore.
Oh, hell yes.
And I'm just saying, not the first time McGonagall came to Dumbledore with appeals about the Gryffindor Quidditch team. Like, what first-year rule? Like, surely for Harry frickin' Potter we can bend that.
They make so many exceptions. They really do.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like reading through, Irvin, your book on the first year from Dumbledore's point of view was such an eye-opening experience as to, like, how he thinks of Gryffindor and Slytherin. Oh my God! It made me want to strangle him. It made me want to strangle him so bad. It's very upsetting.
Thanks, Grace.
Yes, your book is enlightening and incredible, and I love it. It was very good.
Yes, and when this episode comes out, newly available in hardcover.
Oh, hell yes. Everyone go out and buy it.
Must get.
Yes, please.
Spend your money. I will always enable you to buy more Harry Potter things. Go, everyone. So, I love the adult humor shout out here. Very good. If you want to quote it, go ahead.
Yeah, so, Order of the Phoenix, the series is more mature, everyone's a little bit more grown up, and we also get a little bit more, adult humor, if you will. Mainly between, the Weasleys talking about their boils. So Fred and George have been testing their Weasley Wizard Wheezes at this point. And they're like, yeah, no, this one's terrible, because, like, we have all these boils, and I can't see any boils, said Ron, staring at the twins. No, well, you wouldn't, said Fred darkly. They're not in a place we generally display to the public, but they make sitting on a broom a right pain in the...
I love that you brought this up, because I noticed this in this book in particular, how, like, I know that they say that this one is the one that's least edited because it's so long. I generally kind of love it, though, because it gives you so much time to sort of take in the whimsical writing and the stupid humor. I love this humor. Mm-hmm. This is very fun, dumb humor that I think appeals to me because I'm not a secondary Ravenclaw like Hannah is.
I mean, not gonna lie, I absolutely cackle whenever I read this because I'm a big fan of sophomoric humor.
I've got big respect for Fred and George. They're very entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
I read that section completely differently. I'm like, they've spotted a gap in the market for chaos causing. And then they drop out of school and run a successful business. I'm like, yes, Fred and George.
I mean, listen,
I love
nothing
them.
But respect for inventors, creators, really, who are willing to experiment on themselves and give themselves massive pus-filled boils in the name of progress.
Yes, exactly. I've got huge respect for both of them. In fact, one of my favourite scenes in the books is the scene where they like bust out of school. I'm like, yes, guys.
It's a golden one.
It's joyous.
Very good.
Yeah.
And so another bit of captaining from Angelina that we see is she remembers Hermione using the impervious charm to keep rain off of Harry's glasses. And she has the whole team do it. And I was like, yes, Angelina knows what's up. She's observant and, like, strategized. And she's like, yes, maybe if my Quidditch players could see things, that would be good.
Also, how did I not notice she was she's a very good team captain. She's put into a horrible position during this year of trying to wrangle, like, the Gryffindor team under the supervision of Umbridge, who's just awful. She's so good at what she does.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
She's amazing. I also question, so they're using impervious and they'll use it whilst they play. I've always been confused about Quidditch. Like, what can you and can't you do on the pitch? What are the rules? It is, and people who listen to Potterless will often hear Mike, who is a sports fan talking about this. He's like, it's the worst sport. What are the rules? I don't understand. And I'm like,
well, if you would read Quidditch Through the Ages, we wouldn't have this problem.
Yeah. Well, I think I definitely read Quidditch Through the Ages, but using the use of spells in the thing, like how strong a spell can you use? Like,
that's a great question.
Can you down some Felix Felicis?
Can you down Felix? Is that illegal?
No,
yeah?
Slughorn says it's completely disallowed in sports competition.
Oh, hey,
and
okay,
testing,
that makes sense.
Things like that.
Yeah, okay.
And it also says that you are, I believe, not allowed to do magic while out on the pitch. You are allowed to carry your wand, but I think you're not allowed to use it.
Well, those referees didn't show up in the desert.
So,
by
Irvin, you need to
themselves.
explain the rules of Quidditch. You need to explain Quidditch to me because you know what you're talking about. And I'm just like, what?
So there's 4 balls. There's a flopper, 2 gophers, and a snitch.
I will say for sure, someone could explain the rules of any given sport to me 100 times, and I will not get it.
Right?
I'm
and
not good at sport.
There's something about sports people that makes them really want to try to explain American football to me, and I'm always like, no, listen, better men than you have tried. Like, I promise I won't understand it.
For sure. And that's absolutely the same with me, too. It's just like, I have read Quidditch Through the Ages. I have, I feel like with every single Quidditch scene, my mind just glazes over and is like, okay, I'm going to accept anything that happens here. I'm not going to really question it. Let's just go.
Mm-hmm.
My literary brain kind of turns off, and I wait until the end of it to start assessing things.
Yeah, so they can perform spells on themselves, or I guess each other, right before gameplay, but they couldn't do it during gameplay is what I'm getting out of this.
Okay.
But if you can do impervious on your face, why not do it to your entire body if it's raining out so you don't get wet? So you're not super uncomfortable and cold and damp and just ugh.
I wonder if it keeps you from getting hit. Because that's against the rules then.
That's a good point.
Okay, yeah, that's probably it.
So I think Hermione says that the spell repels water. So I don't know if it would repel other things. But yeah, if I had to guess, I'd say that, like, charming your entire body would be, like, a little too much. Whereas just, like, making sure you can see seems reasonable. Because, like, otherwise they'll be like, well, then glasses are illegal, so...
Yeah. Thank God none of that actually matters for this practice because they don't end up really doing anything.
I can't see a darn
And when
thing
they go
anyway.
back in, Harry gets his channeling Tom thoughts moment. Before Tom is even aware of the connection. So that's what I thought was so impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, but Harry's been seeing into Tom's mind for, well, or like sensing his mood for ages before Tom found out.
Yeah, for a hot second. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which doesn't surprise me, really. Tom's not really connected with his own emotions as much as he should be.
Yeah. But what is surprising is Ron has good advice.
I know, right? He tells him to go to Dumbles.
Oh, Ron's so underrated. Ron is my absolute favourite character in these books.
Oh, I love it.
He's my absolute favourite. I love an underdog.
Tell me why. Tell me about your favourite character. Tell me why you love him.
Oh, I like Ron because I think that he is a very imperfect person, and I like that he has been he's an imperfect person put into a difficult situation, and I just like watching him deal with it because I feel like he's the quote unquote normal one. So when I was reading the books for the first time, he was the one who I was watching it through his eyes, not through Harry's, even though, you know, the narrator follows Harry. I always read it like I was Ron, who was this like normal person who's just like happens to get embroiled in Harry and Hermione and is friends with them. And I think that he grows and he learns a lot throughout the series, and I love a good character arc. And I think his character arc is one of the best throughout the series because he matures.
That's so beautiful.
And like deals with himself, you know, and gets over himself in the end. Only just. But he does.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
And he's way smarter in the books than he is in the films. Let's
remember. They do a terrible job.
I mean, that's a low bar.
They butcher. I was gutted, and I think it's a huge missed opportunity because Rupert Grint is the best actor of the three of Daniel Radcliffe, Rupert Grint and Emma Watson.
100%. Amen to that part.
Country mile, he's the best actor.
Yes. I've disagreed with everything you've said in the last 3 minutes, but that I'm just yes, absolutely.
Right, and they had such an opportunity to really show his character development, but just relegated him to the grunting sidekick role, which
sucks.
Tragic, actually, and shameful because it doesn't
it's a wild disservice of his character,
and it doesn't cost anything extra to write some good lines. Mm-hmm. That's free to do that.
Stop giving his lines to other characters.
Oh, stop giving
Hermione.
Stop giving his lines to Emma Watson.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. That made me. That's one of the things I really disliked about the films, which is why I'm not a huge film fan because. That didn't sit well with me. Mm-hmm. It was very Hollywoodified, or And the films wanted Harry and Hermione to get together, which is disgusting and wrong in my opinion.
Yeah, I actually yelled that at Steve Kloves on a red carpet.
Did you? What did you say? Okay,
I literally yelled, "Harry and Hermione will never end up together."
Stop making it a thing! Fetch will never be a thing!
Yeah.
I did not end up getting his autograph on the red carpet, but honestly, I came away satisfied.
I mean, if you did end up getting his autograph, it would just be, "You're wrong, Irvin. Stop it. Of course it's a thing."
I mean, I have massive... I've never met you, Irvin, but I have a lot of respect for you.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, God. But yes, I mean, I feel like he had a pretty good idea to go and tell Dumbledore. Mm-hmm. And I like your note here, Irvin, about how the story would or would not have changed.
Yeah, so, you pose the great question of, would the story change if Harry told Dumbledore what's up? And I don't know that it would have, because, Dumbledore already suspects that Voldemort is, all up in Harry's mind at this point, right?
Yeah.
And so I think Dumbledore would just, double down on his whole, la 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 la, I don't see Harry, there's nothing going on here, pay no attention, Voldemort.
Yeah. I think it's an interesting question, because now we're getting into a question of, Harry goes to Dumbledore again, and he tells him of the situation that happened, and Dumbledore yet again ignores him, so his frustration ramps up even further. So does that sort of, does that even make him more susceptible to all of these dreams that are happening to him because that frustration is being ramped up? I don't know. I think that it doesn't change much by way of, the story itself, but what it does change is Harry's attitude, because the frustration just keeps ramping up in that case.
Yeah, I guess I didn't think of it as much from Harry's perspective, because I always go for Dumbledore. And I think...
Just like I do Tom, it's fine.
Exactly, right? I don't think this would have made Dumbledore pivot strategies, unless, something dramatic happened. When Harry, sees into Nagini's mind, that's dramatic enough that Dumbledore's okay, we are changing gears here.
Mm-hmm. What I thought is if the frustration got to be enough, which I really don't think it would for just this one thing, but let's say it did. Let's say he got so frustrated that even Tom starts feeling an inkling of what's happening with Harry. If he starts to realize the connection early, that becomes a point that he can manipulate even further. So I feel like all in all, it might have been a good thing he didn't go to Dumbledore. I feel like it might have changed things for the worse because the frustration would have just kept ramping up. So worst case scenario, Tom realizes early, which I don't think would have happened, but let's say it did, it would be very, very bad.
Counterpoint. If we reach our inflection point earlier, Dumbledore has Harry start taking occlumency lessons earlier. Mm-hmm. If Harry starts occlumency lessons earlier, perhaps he and Snape reach a boiling point when Dumbledore is still headmaster. And so Dumbledore makes them stick with occlumency, and Harry actually learns to shut off his mind, more or less, a little bit, and isn't seduced by the vision of Sirius in the Department of Mysteries.
That's a fair point.
Possibly. It's hard to speculate about timing in this case.
I know, but I love to.
It is very fun to do. Also, I don't know, like, do you really think that he would have, like, pushed further with the occlumency situation? Because I think that as long as it is Snape teaching Harry occlumency, I don't think it's going to stick.
But it's about the fact that they're not accountable to anyone, right? Because when Harry tells Sirius and Lupin that, like, oh, Snape stopped teaching the occlumency, and they're like, no, this is unacceptable! Dumbledore wanted you to learn this! Harry, you go directly to Snape and tell him to teach you occlumency.
But, I don't think that would have changed anything. Let's say that Harry does go back to learn additional occlumency. It didn't work the first time. There's too much bad blood between them.
So Dumbledore should have taught him.
It would be very difficult in that case, too, because then Tommy Boy's peering on in like, hey, what's up? Hey, bud. Well, get wrecked.
What?
I've got your boy here.
I mean, yeah, but Dumbledore is a much more effective teacher than Snape, so...
Yeah,
for sure.
I think that would have been worth it.
It's a lot.
Can I just say, I love the part in Puffs when, in year 5, Dumbledore, like, runs across Wayne, and he's like, hey, student, do you know where Harry is? I have a lot of things I want to talk to him about, like why I've been avoiding him and this prophecy thing. And Wayne's like, nope, haven't seen him. And Dumbledore's like, oh, I guess it could wait till the end of the year. And I always laugh so hard at that.
Oh, I need to see Puffs. I must see it.
It's
you absolutely must.
It's not allowed over here. Did you know that?
What?
Because of
what?
Copyright. Because it's set within the world of Harry Potter.
Oh, jeez.
Unlike my play, which is about the fans, this is because it's set within the world, because our parody laws here are much stricter than yours are.
God.
Yeah, so Puffs, I'm going to have to come to the States, because I've got to see Puffs.
Where are we at, though? I mean, I wrote a lot about this whole Harry being a weapon thing. It's just like, he assesses the situation, assumes that Voldemort is no closer to finding the weapon than he had been, which is why he's so pissy when he zoned in on his emotions. I thought that it would have been cool if Harry actually was the weapon that Tom was hunting down, but God, that is like a long shot and it doesn't make a ton of sense.
I really wanted that to happen.
I know, me too, right? It's really, really cool.
Really badly. So I wanted him to have to
I have thoughts and I have feelings about this weapon nonsense, and really the takeaway is shame on Dumbledore. Because
that should be the title of the third Fantastic Beasts movie.
Yeah. The Secrets of Dumbledore and shame on Dumbledore.
As long as it's not Life and Lies, because that's spoken for. Yo, when I found the title, I was like, oh my God, like, keywords, I win. My book is gonna come up in all the Google results right now.
Oh, hell yes. You love to see it. You love to see it.
Yeah.
Angie's List is now Angie, and caring for your home just got easier. Whether you need help with routine maintenance or a dream remodel, Angie makes it easy to see reviews, compare quotes, and connect with top local pros who can get the job done right. Plus, you can see upfront pricing and instantly book hundreds of projects. No phone tag, just the work you need done at a time that works for you. Angie's got your to-do list covered from start to finish. Book your next home project today at Angie.com. That's ANGI.com.
Get running this fall at Dunkin' with $2 medium iced coffees from 2 to 6 p.m. Try any of Dunkin's delicious iced coffee, like their signature original blend. Or treat yourself to mocha, caramel, or the fall favorite, pumpkin. Always freshly brewed, made just the way you like it. Make time for happy hour and enjoy a $2 medium iced coffee from 2 to 6 p.m. Washington, D.C. runs on Dunkin'. Participation may vary. Limited time offer. Exclusions apply.
Peacock is streaming your favorite shows, movies, live sports, breaking news, exclusive originals, and every live WWE pay-per-view. It's The Office, Chris Lee Knows Best, and Peacock original shows like Punky Brewster. Peacock, watch for free, upgrade for more. Stream now at peacocktv.com.
But anyway, so the weapon thing. So here's the thing. Dumbledore says at the end of the book that is the weapon Voldemort has been so assiduously seeking, the knowledge of how to destroy you. And I'm like, bullshit. Because that is not what everyone else thinks. Like, the first time we hear about the weapon is from Sirius, when Harry's like, what's he after apart from followers? And Sirius is like, something he didn't have last time, like a weapon. And I'm like, I'm sorry. Sirius Black would not think that the knowledge of how to destroy Harry is a weapon that Voldemort is looking for. That is not how he would have phrased it. So I take this as proof as the fact that the Order had no clue what they were guarding or what was going on, because Dumbledore keeps his secrets close to his vest and doesn't actually tell his underlings what is going on.
Yep.
An interesting take. I like it. I like the take. I do. I don't know if I completely agree, but I like it.
I think that's the way I've always read the series. I don't know why.
What, that the weapon was, like, he was lying to everybody?
Yeah. He just no disclosure that he was keeping that to himself. And maybe it was because he thought it would get tortured out of someone if they got caught by the baddies.
I mean...
So maybe that's why he didn't...
To quote Aberforth Dumbledore, secrets and lies, that's how we grew up. And Albus, he was a natural.
Yeah. Yeah.
It also may be that Tom, like, I haven't completely formed my theories yet, so I'm speaking a little bit before I've done my complete research, so feel free to completely not believe me here. But Tom also considered the prophecy to be a weapon in some cases, because he sort of went in half prepared last time, and that means that, like, sort of like the knowledge that that prophecy contained was something that he needed. And while, like, we kind of knew what was behind everything, right? We knew that Harry and Tom had to face off by the end of the series. This isn't any new information. But I feel like this confirmation is something that if Tom had even further been confirmed on it, like, it could have served as a weapon in some cases. And, like, I think that I really need to chip away at this theory a little bit, maybe think about it a bit more. But it's something that I think that maybe Tom and Dumbledore are kind of on the same wavelength with. Like, they think knowledge is a weapon. They think knowledge is power.
But not this knowledge. Like, Dumbledore doesn't care about this knowledge. Like, the prophecy is a decoy to keep Voldemort busy.
I read that theory, and I think that there is some interesting truths in it, but I don't know if I completely think is exactly what's going on.
I mean, but what valuable information is in that prophecy that Dumbledore doesn't want Voldemort hearing?
I think it's more so just the confirmation, right? It's the confirmation that Harry has to die. Because we see a lot beforehand that Voldemort's kind of working on a lot of different stews. There's a lot of different things that are cooking. I think Harry's in the background, and he comes to the foreground when it's convenient. I think that after the reveal, even to Harry, the fact that they were trying to guard this prophecy so fervently was confirmation enough that Harry is important to them, and he has to come to the forefront. He can no longer be on a back burner. But so it's in a way kind of protecting Harry, maybe in certain ways. It's hard to say what's exactly behind this.
The beginning of the prophecy, which is the part Voldemort knows, is the one with the power to vanquish the Dark Lord approaches. So, like, there was no question that Harry was unimportant or can be put on the back burner. Like, Voldemort knew that he would have to kill this kid, hence Godric's Hollow, hence, like, everything that happened in the series.
But when is also a question of it, too. Like, honestly, this is way wildly off topic. I think that we should reel it on back to what we're supposed to be talking about here.
Reeled back.
But it's a very, very interesting theory, and I think it's really cool, Irvin. I like it a lot. I don't necessarily think it's exactly what I'm thinking it is, but I think it's very interesting. And I didn't get to read through these notes yet on your flashes of the mood.
Yeah, so once Harry has a flash of Voldemort's mood, he and Ron do, like, a little recap of each time he's, like, flashed into Voldemort's mood. And I just thought it'd be good if we looked at these and see if we could actually connect the dots to what events were influencing Voldemort's mood. Because we get 3 of them up to this point. First, there's the night that Harry, Ron, and Hermione went back to Hogwarts, and Voldemort was furious. And that one's actually very easy to connect because that's the night that an Imperious Sturgis Podmore failed to get the prophecy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, more curious is a week later, when Harry's in detention with Umbridge, and he gets this whole lurching feeling and his scar hurts, it's because Voldemort was pleased.
Isn't that because everybody broke on out of Azkaban?
No, because everyone breaks out of Azkaban after this chapter.
Yeah, that's why that's when they read it in the paper. So, like, he knew before the papers did.
Yeah, but this isn't that's a different instance.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, because that happens at the end of chapter 24. Yeah, it's the end of chapter 24 when something good's happened, mumbled Harry, something he's been hoping for. And
so you're certain that wasn't the big breakout?
No, so the big breakout is the end of chapter 24, because he wondered, with a feeling of great trepidation, what had happened to make Lord Voldemort the happiest he had been in 14 years.
Okay.
So that's chapter 24. Right now we're talking about chapter 18, and he's recapping chapter 13, Detention with Dolores, the first week of term, when his scar hurt when Umbridge touched him.
Okay.
This is why, because it's confusing and it gets muddled. So this is why I'm just let's lay this down.
Cool.
To recap, in chapter 9, Detention with Dolores, which is the first week of term, Umbridge touches Harry and his scar hurts, and he's like, oh my god, Umbridge is probably Voldemort, and no. And in this chapter, in this scene that we're talking about now, he realizes that it's because Voldemort was feeling pleased, and Harry just didn't connect it because he was feeling so crappy at the time.
Right.
And so we don't have an exact, tie-in event to why Voldemort was feeling pleased at that moment. One possibility is that, because Sturgis Podmore was carted off to Azkaban with no one being the wiser about Voldemort's involvement or anything, because the day after that is when we get the news about Sturgis going to Azkaban. But I actually have another theory. Because...
Please tell.
I think that's actually when Lucius cast the Imperious Curse on Broderick Bode, the Unspeakable. And that Voldemort was pleased because now he had hope that in Unspeakable would be able to take the prophecy, because that's what Avery told him, and Avery was wrong. And I think he's mad right now in this instance because this is when Bode fails to get the prophecy. And this is when he, tries to touch it and goes crazy and gets carted off to St. Mungo's. Because we're unclear on when exactly, all this Broderick Bode stuff happens. All we know is that, it's all happened and in the rearview window by Christmas when we visit St. Mungo's. So I think it's likely these are the instances that Voldemort is having his mood swings about, just because all of his mood swings do seem to be connected with who's getting the prophecy or not, other than the Azkaban breakout.
Well, listeners, if you have any other theories, please share them in the comments.
Really, please do.
Harry starts isolating himself and refusing to talk about his problems with Ron and Hermione, which is a problem within itself.
Yeah.
And he falls asleep while reading a passage about scurvy grass, lovage, and sneezewort. And I love the fact that they use these just because, they're such weird herbs in general that no one really knows about.
Yeah, Grace, tell us more about these herbs.
Yeah, I'll do it quick. We won't center a lot of time around this just because they're very interesting. But scurvy grass, basically, it's used to prevent scurvy, as you probably could tell from the name. It contains a lot of vitamin C, and it was sometimes called watercress, and they would basically chew it and store it on a boat so that you would not get scurvy out at sea. Lovage is they're any of several perennial herbs that are within the carrot family. And it's a European herb that's sometimes cultivated for use in medicine. And it's also used as a flavoring agent, which was really interesting. And then there's sneezewort, which has the best name, I think, in the world.
Obviously. And
it's another perennial wildflower. And the flowers are so interesting looking just because they have these weird barrel-shaped petals in the middle. They're very tubular florets. And chewing on the roots of sneezewort was recommended treatment, if not guaranteed cure, for a toothache. And in the past, dried and powdered leaves of this plant were used as a sneezing powder. So that's kind of fun.
And he was reading about this in relation to which potion? I feel like there was something in it about the potion.
Confuddlement?
Yes, I think it was
Confusing and befuddlement draft.
Thank you.
Hell
which
yeah.
I thought was hilarious because in the mobile game Wizards Unite, these ingredients are used to brew invigoration drafts that increase focus during battles, which is like the opposite of befuddlement confusion. It's actually increasing your focus. I'm like, did they do that on purpose or did they just get confused when they were making this game? I don't know.
Maybe they used some of these herbs and they got confused while making the
game. Is this the open universe game, Wizards Unite?
No.
Yeah.
Or is it? Wait, I don't know what open universe means, I think.
It's kind of like as in your kind of
It's Pokemon Go, but Harry Potter.
But you can interact with other players. Yeah.
No.
A little.
You
can fight duels with others.
It's like Fortnite, where you can interact with other people, right?
I'm too old for Fortnite, so I don't know.
Same. So am I, but I know people who are young enough to know Fortnite. So
I am as ancient as the hills. I don't know.
Okay.
Thinking of Hogwarts Mystery. I haven't played that one, so I don't know.
This is the thing. Hogwarts Mystery says that you're interacting with other people. I don't know if that's true. I feel like they are lying to me. I don't know. I feel like whenever I've had to duel another actual person, I felt like it was just like they were trying to fool me into it. It was just some random generated individual that they threw at me.
Interesting.
But I don't know anything about that, so maybe it is, maybe it isn't.
Like RuneScape. Did anybody here ever play RuneScape? That's probably more our era. RuneScape. Maybe this was just a UK thing.
God, I wish. That sounds great.
Yeah, it's like a mystical world, and you interact with like other people who are in that world. So that's what I mean when I say. And you're kind of like warlocks and goblins and.
No, so Wizards Unite, it's more like in our world. So like it uses the map of our world, except like wizarding Pokemon show up like where you are.
Okay, yeah. Cool. Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah, Katie, are you still playing?
So, okay. I stopped when they introduced all of the, SOS training. So, all the new books and pamphlets and flyers or whatever you're supposed to collect and do things with. I got so confused and nobody could explain it to me that I just got frustrated. And I was just like, I'm not even going out and walking right now because when was that? Was that during the pandemic? I don't even know anymore. I've lost all track of time.
So that's nice. So you actually walk in the real world. Oh, that's
nice. Yeah.
Oh, I like that. Get those steps in.
Steps.
Yeah,
exactly.
Good.
You have to open port keys by walking certain distances.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's very
like that thing. Like these games accomplish everything people criticize geeks for. They're like, look, it gets us walking outside, like interacting with people, like we're doing all the things you want us to do.
How dare you criticize us for wanting Pokemon?
Yeah.
/ wizarding crap.
So, like, I stopped it for a while because I was just, like, overwhelmed. And then I started opening it every day just so I could pick up an ingredient or a port key and get 20 energy. So now I literally have over 4,700 energy.
Woo!
Wow.
That's how I feel now after half a cup of tea.
Very nice.
I wish I had over 4,000 actual energy in my.
That would be fantastic.
Right, but yeah, so I don't play it much, but I still dabble a little.
Yeah.
They need to fix their bugs because Adventure Sync doesn't work anymore for the port keys.
I know.
And I hate that so much.
Like, that's the thing. Like, I feel like they are actively trying to just, like, ruin the game. Like, every single thing that happens, I was like, but this is the wrong thing.
Yes. It's like, this was working before. What did you possibly do to break it for this long?
Because, like, I still sort of, like, played, like, in a perfunctory way, sort of, like, want to have a spare 30 seconds.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, it's no longer like, oh my god, it's Saturday, let's all go fight some fortresses.
Right?
Oh my god, you guys are hilarious. When I started this game, I instantly stopped playing it. It was not for me.
Oh no, it was hardcore, like, a thing we did.
Oh,
it was
heck
so
yeah.
much fun.
Yeah,
Y'all
I
are
met a bunch of
crazy.
people in the area because of this game. We had like a Facebook group, and we would meet up at restaurants and stuff and do fortresses.
Yeah, we had a group WhatsApp, and we did the same thing.
You guys are so
awesome.
cute.
That's
Yeah.
nice.
It was great.
I love that.
That was definitely
Yeah.
before the pandemic.
Cute and adorable. Yeah, that sounds like a pre-pandemic activity.
Yeah, like, it was sort of
for
like
sure.
dwindling a bit, like, before the pandemic, and then the pandemic hit, and we're like, welp, that's that.
Yeah. Apparently the game makers thought the same thing. Well, that's
Oh.
that. We're going to stop
Actually,
updating
though.
it.
It's because everyone's getting ready for the actual game.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so psyched for that.
Yeah, the big one. Yeah.
Yes.
It looks delicious, scrumptious, if you will.
My Harry Potter video gaming career ended, I think, with the Quidditch PC game, which I used to play when I was maybe 12, and that was also possibly the last video game I ever played. So,
What?
I know.
No!
I think what you would say in America is a theatre kid. Too many rehearsals, too many this, too many that. So
How dare you be busy with things that you love?
Didn't have the time.
Get back
sadly.
to gaming, Hannah. Terrible. I'm disappointed in you.
Too much of this and that going on.
How dare you produce a beautiful show instead of video gaming?
Yeah. Well, it sucked up a lot of that childhood, though. You know, it sucks it,
it
sucks
does.
it all up. I'm like, where did that just go? Oh, okay. It was just all on the stage.
Where did these responsibilities come from?
Where do these? Oh, okay, cool. That's fine. We're cool with that.
All right, so I'll move on here.
We're moving towards the AVPM reference, which I'm obsessed with.
Although,
Yes.
but can I just say that, like, the passage about, like, scurvy, grass, and lovage and all that is such a well-written passage? Because, like, it perfectly captures that, like, falling asleep while trying to desperately focus thought process.
Oh, yeah.
And I say this as someone who has been there, done that all the time.
Many an exam attempted to be revised for the night before. Yeah.
Yeah, when you're lying there and you're opening your eyes, you're like, yes, I'm totally taking in this sentence that I'm reading. Yes, totally taking those words in and their meaning.
And you're kind of like blinking. You're like blinking back the sleep, and you're like, no, I'm still here.
We're reading, we're studying, it's happening, we're doing it.
I've done that with, like, fictional books once in a while when I've like pulled an all-nighter or like jet lag or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm reading and I was like, I'm totally taking in this story. Wait, when did Snape die? Did that happen in the last page?
And even when there's like no stakes in that situation because you're not revising for an exam, but you're just like I get this as well. I'm like, I'm so determined to carry on. I am so determined to finish this book. That
Yes.
like, and you just have to, you kind of give up feeling like a failure every night. You're like, I didn't get to the next
Destroy your
chapter.
body until
You know?
it happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just my strategy with life in general. So when Harry actually does doze off, what happens, Grace?
We see that Tom isn't even, like, he's not even manipulating Harry right now. He's just thinking about a corridor. I'm thinking to myself, as I'm reading this chapter, is like, don't you have a hobby? Isn't there anything else that you could be thinking? It's just a corridor. You're thinking about a corridor. He's thinking about a corridor now. And I have to read about this damn corridor. Can we please stop it?
That's just the fifth book all over, isn't it? It's like every 3 pages, like, oh, there was a corridor. You're like, oh, right, okay, okay.
I mean, that's even in the summary for Order of the Phoenix. They're like, and yet Harry keeps dreaming about this mysterious corridor. And I'm like, are we supposed to care?
Is this supposed to be some kind of metaphor for Tom's life is just an unending corridor that he never reaches the door to? I get it, okay? I get it.
Yeah. And also, to answer your earlier question, Grace, per a Harry Potter musical, Voldemort's hobbies include folding ties and pushing people into fires.
Thank you.
So we do have an answer.
I'm glad that you have me covered here, Irvin. Thank you.
Oh my god,
I got you.
I love it. I love AVPM. Controversial as that might be, I think all of them are fantastic.
Oh, I love the Harry Potter trilogy.
I'm obsessed.
It's so good.
It's so funny.
I just need to watch them. I've been saying for years, I'm going to watch them.
You still haven't watched them?
Katie, you've had an entire pandemic.
Oh, you've got to.
I haven't watched the third. I will own up to that.
The third
is the best one.
The third is the best one with Gilderoy Lockhart and Hermione.
I cried so hard.
At the end, it is sad.
Yeah, at the end, like when they do the like twisted reprise. Gotta get back to Hogwarts. I had to pause it and just bawl for like 10 minutes.
It's over. But it's the most it's the smartest one, the third one. I think because they're all a bit older when they're writing it and doing it.
Oh, nice.
The portrayal of Lockhart is extraordinarily funny by what's the guy's name? He then went into the Book of Mormon.
Oh, AJ Holmes. I just saw his solo show off Broadway. It was my first trip back to theater.
Yeah. AJ Holmes, who then went into the Book of Mormon as Elder Cunningham. He's just fantastic.
That's amazing. I'm going to have to go ahead and take a look at that.
Yeah, after I've streamed Dumbledore is So Gay, then I'm
after you streamed
after
I streamed that, and after I watched the Harry Potter musical, all three of them.
Quick plug for Dumbledore is So Gay. It is only an hour long, whereas the AVP trilogy, all of them are like 3 hours long or something.
I mean, no. Okay. 1 and 3 are like a reasonable length. They're like 2.5-ish hours. Harry Potter sequel is long.
It's very long.
Like I have never yet managed to watch Harry Potter sequel all in one sitting. Because it's long.
And think about it. If you watch Dumbledore is So Gay and it's only an hour, like you're saying, Hannah, you could just watch it 3 times.
You could
just go. Because we're the kind of people, we've got that dedication. You could just keep watching it.
You could
just do it over again.
You could. Absolutely. Yeah. And please do. You could and should, and please do. That would be wonderful. And then put a little review on the Facebook page.
Because you know who won't stop you while you're watching Dumbledore is So Gay 3 times in a row. Dobby. Dobby won't wake you out of that stupor. He won't.
I love nice segue. That was really good.
Thank you.
Sexy transition.
Thank you. I'm going to try for at least one every episode. But Dobby comes up. He wakes Harry up and he gives he describes how he's taking all of Hermione's knitted stuff because number one, he loves it so much and no one else will clean the tower anymore. I'll speed through my thoughts on this because I think I talked myself out of being uncomfortable about the elves because I found this fantastic article about why house elves are not a metaphor for transatlantic slavery because if you think of them like a metaphor for slavery, it's so bad. It's so bad.
It is
just
bad.
all around.
Yeah.
There's no way that you can actually think of it that way and have it be an actual good metaphor.
I think it's meant to be though. I think it's meant to be a metaphor. Yeah.
For slavery, like actual slavery?
Well, I mean, no, I wouldn't say like necessarily actual slavery, but it's that whole idea of like they're so oppressed that they don't know that they're oppressed, and that's really, really messed up.
I think
and Hermione is right to be wanting to free them, but they're like, oh well, we don't want to be freed because they're such terrible victims that they don't realize what's happening to them.
The way that it's treated like it's a joke, though, in the book is something that it's always made me hyper uncomfortable. Is because, like, Hermione's right. She is right about them needing better conditions.
Yeah.
But then there's also the fact that she doesn't respect their culture. And if they're brownies, like the mythic creature brownie.
Yeah, sure.
Like, it's a whole different can of worms. Like it's a strange sort of argument to take because like yes, they very much deserve better treatment, but then like you have to consider their own culture and what they value, you know? And I thought that it was really like I would highly recommend the article if anybody wants to read it. It's the why house elves are not a metaphor for transatlantic slavery.
But I think the whole this comes up like a lot in the series is the idea of like inherent supremacy and why that is wrong to believe that you are inherently supreme to somebody else. So the purebloods are, you know, quote unquote, the purebloods are more inherently supreme than the people who are mudbloods or whatever you would say.
Yeah.
And the wizards are...
We don't use that language here, Hannah.
Oh, well, I know. This is all in quotation marks. And, the house elves are quote unquote beneath the wizards. And of course you see that in the statue, don't you? When they go into the ministry, you see the wizards, the wizards and witches above the other animals. And I think that it makes this is something that the series really, and I think that J.K. Rowling is really trying to unpick, is like why that is bad. And I think the house elves are part of that, and it's unpicking why that is bad. And of course we all know that's bad.
I think that one of the most brilliant sections of this book in particular is at the end when Dumbledore literally is saying, like, the sum of it is that, like, wizards have always thought that they were above other people, and it's come back to bite us in the ass.
Exactly.
Many a time. And it's wrong. And I thought that was very, very astute, and you don't see many people pointing that out, and it needs to be said more often in this series, but wizards do this constantly. And as we know, Dobby is pure and good and everything, blessed in this world. And he tells Harry about the Room of Requirement, which is all very cute and wonderful. And then Harry makes a very adult decision and decides not to run off in the middle of the night/morning to go and see it.
This is what maturing is all about.
Hell yeah.
I love it.
Yes.
Really, snaps for Harry, because that was very uncharacteristic maturity of him.
I know. Good boy. He's good. My second favorite. He's very good. He's a good boy.
See, especially since Hermione was saying he's going to get all reckless like Sirius, here he is not being reckless. So
because he literally hears Hermione's voice going, reckless. I just love that Hermione is the voice of his conscience at this point.
Yeah,
like, she is absolutely like the angel on his shoulder.
Yep.
Is he his own devil on his shoulder?
No, I think Sirius is the devil.
Sirius is, yeah.
Yeah. And
Well,
Sirius is
right,
like,
you're right, huh?
second of all, look what I can do, and does the handstand. And Hermione's like, no, actually, he's got a point.
No, actually, he's got a point. Oh, now I need to rewatch it. The Emperor's New Groove. That's from that, right? I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
I'm glad my references find a welcome audience here.
All right, where are we at, guys?
Fifth year's allowed to be in corridors until 9 o'clock.
So we find out that, I mean, there's a curfew. And, like, we've always known, like, there's a curfew because, like, McGonagall, like, wigs out when she finds them in the corridors at night. But here we actually find out that fifth years are allowed to be in the corridors till 9 o'clock, and that apparently different years have different curfews.
Yeah, well, that's in the British boarding school system, that is normal. So when I read this, I was like, oh, of course. Of course the fifth years are allowed to be out in the corridors until 9. Because it's... And this was another interesting thing about these books is they're in the tradition of the British boarding school novel. So the Enid Blyton books, the Twins at St. Clair's, The Naughtiest Girl in School, they're all, books written in like the 1920s and 1930s about japes in boarding school and what people would get up to. And of course, this is a progression of that, except it's a wizard boarding school. So
it's for magic.
It's for magic. So like the house system, curfews, common rooms for different houses, that's all like very familiar territory for the British boarding school system. I begged my mum, oh, please send me to boarding school. Did not go to boarding school in the end.
It sounds expensive. Honestly.
It is expensive. So that didn't. I do know some people who did, and unfortunately had a terrible time actually.
God,
being sent
You're telling
away.
me it's not all like Harry Potter?
Yeah,
Hannah?
Exactly. This is it. You're telling me it's not like in an Enid Blyton book where it's midnight feasts and spells. So yeah, that's.
But no, that goes back to my point. A 9 p.m. curfew is absurd. What if people want a late dinner?
No, but you can't. That's the point. You can't. You have to eat dinner. Whenever dinner is, I don't know, maybe it's at 6. You've got to all eat dinner together. Oh, you're not hungry. Oh, well, tough. You've got to eat dinner.
Oh, hell no. I would not do well in boarding school.
That's what it's like. Yeah.
It sounds like my household growing up.
Yeah. It's that's what it is.
If anything, that maybe is a good value. Just teach you to actually have a regular eating schedule.
And
I have a regular
Urban.
eating schedule
But what
with
if
dinner
you've got-
at 10 p.m. like the good Lord intended.
Yeah, well, exactly. Absolutely. But what if you've got stuff on? This is the thing. What if you've got other stuff to do? But it's all very structured and regimented. So meal times are you've got to make yourself hungry at 6 o'clock.
You best be eating.
Yeah, you best be
6
eating.
o'clock.
Well, then it's a good thing they have baggy robes and no one's looking at your figure, because, oh my god, you blow up like a balloon.
There's stuff in their pockets full of things to take back to the common room.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
later.
Right, like, now I understand why stealing from the kitchens is, like, such a thing. Right? I'm like, yeah, like, what if you get peckish?
Yeah, well, exactly. What if you get packaged? This is Fred and George's entrepreneurial spirit coming in. They can form a trade of illicit goods from the kitchen.
They're very clever lads.
They're very clever lads. Yeah.
Seriously, like, they don't even need to, like, invent magical products. They just need to, like, make sandwiches available at midnight and they'll make a killing.
Right?
Basically, right?
Just set up a cart. Fruit just appears on it, and everyone thinks they're the ones making it happen when it's really house elves the entire time that are doing extra work. And then Hermione is just outraged when she finds out.
Oh my lord.
I've been eating food from slaves for the past year.
Oh Lord.
Anyway.
Oh my God. So speaking of the room of requirement, though.
Yes.
Yes, we actually get here.
Finally.
We're finally here, guys. We're in the room.
Well, we got to make it appear first.
Let's make it appear. Let's all walk together, all four of us.
So we're getting to the 7th floor corridor from wherever we're coming from. I'm from Ravenclaw Tower, so I'm going down some stairs or whatever.
Okay,
I'm heading up. I'm from Slytherin, so
I'm coming with you. I'm coming up from the Slytherin.
We just finished up our game of wizarding chess.
I'm coming from the kitchens with a snack for everyone in case people get hungry.
You're the best. Thank you, Irvin.
That's what Hufflepuffs are for.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Looking out for their friends.
We are particularly good at making sandwiches.
And I was really curious if this is the only time we see multiple people summoning the room at once, because Harry, Hermione, and Ron are all doing it and thinking what they want to appear. And in the end, they all three get their wish, and it just all happens to work together. But that made me think, well, what would happen if 2 or more people walked past 3 times, concentrating hard on completely different things? Would the room just malfunction? Would it like not show up, or would 2 doors show up instead of
I think
one?
it would have both the things in.
Yeah, I agree. Like, unless it was like literally like diametrically opposed needs, I think the room would just have both in there because it provides everything like everyone in the trio wants. All at once.
Yeah.
So I think the room's
yeah.
really good at multitasking.
And I'm thinking about from Deathly Hallows when all the kids are staying in there from different houses, and it makes hammocks, and then when the girls show up, it makes bathrooms and things like that.
Because the girls decided they would quite like to wash. Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and have a separate bathroom. Thank you very much.
Yes. So yeah, okay.
Also, this question of is the room of requirement overpowered? Absolutely. For sure.
Like,
it's soft magic, right? Like it is what it needs to be for the story's sake.
Oh, like the Time Turner, which is just...
yeah, so it's not as bad as the Time Turner on account of Joe did not find the need to destroy it 2 books later. Well, actually, I say that, but no, she did destroy it 2 books later.
But wait, then it shows up in the Cursed Child. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah.
What cursed child? We are the children who are cursed.
Yeah, what?
Hannah.
Yeah,
the Cursed Child was the friends we made along the way.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Good job of not letting the room, like, break the story, as it were. But, like, it was a bit of a close call.
Yeah.
It's just, the reason why it didn't break the story is because she just didn't let it. And I respect that. That's fine.
Yeah.
It's just, like, it definitely could, and in some cases probably should have. But it's okay. It's it's not like the end of the world situation. I would rather have the story than I would have logic, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And also, on the other hand, the Room of Requirement has been such a blessing to fan fiction.
Oh,
that
yes.
I think it's all worth it.
That at any cost, absolutely. Because
Right,
I was thinking to myself, if me and Irvin are walking past the door, and I'm thinking just all about Tom, and he's thinking all about Dumbledore, then we walk in and just get a fan fiction of Tom and Dumbledore. That's all that is.
I've read that fanfic.
I have too. We might have read or written the same fan fiction.
Okay, no, I never wrote Dumbledore Voldemort fanfic.
Oh, damn.
I draw the line there.
I was hoping you would have. It's okay, I'll write it. I'll include it in my version, just for you.
Yeah, listeners, please send us your dirtiest Voldemort Dumbledore fanfics.
Oh, yeah.
As long as they take place within the Room of Requirement.
That's what it needs, really.
Yeah. It's amazing how many characters require a bed.
Yeah, exactly. It's just calling out for filth, isn't it? When you call it the Room of Requirement.
100%.
Yeah.
Oof.
I think my favorite one is when Draco walks past it and he requires himself on a bed. So he walks in and there's another Draco there on a bed and he's like, okay. Because he's that narcissistic.
Instead of saying how, the phrase is okay.
Yeah.
All right, so let's hop into the Room of Requirement because we'll just walk past the fan fiction. We don't have to read it now. We'll save it for later.
Yeah, just walk past the fanfic 3 times and it will be about whatever you need it to be about.
Exactly.
You might like absolute silence or lo-fi beats. Maybe you stand, sit, or relocate every hour. You might want fresh coffee always within reach, or a game nearby for those quick breaks. Whatever your work style, you deserve a setup that inspires. And Best Buy tech experts can help you online, in-store, or at home so you can find what's right for you. Work for you space achieved. Details at bestbuy.com.
Geico presents Monster Counseling.
Dracula, tell me how you're feeling.
No one understands how lonely it is. No one will even let me into their house. I knock and I knock, but they ignore me.
Uh-huh. What else?
I look in the mirror and I don't even see myself anymore.
If you don't see yourself clearly, can you really expect others to?
I'm having a breakthrough.
It's not easy to be a vampire, but with Geico, it's super easy to switch and save hundreds on your car insurance.
Get running this fall at Dunkin' with $2 medium iced coffees from 2 to 6 p.m. Try any of Dunkin's delicious iced coffee, like their signature original blend. Or treat yourself to mocha, caramel, or the fall favorite, pumpkin. Always freshly brewed, made just the way you like it. Make time for happy hour and enjoy a $2 medium iced coffee from 2 to 6 p.m. Washington, D.C. runs on Dunkin'. Participation may vary. Limited time offer. Exclusions apply.
The trio enters the Room of Requirement and looks around, and this is actually a comment from Rebus over at the Harry Potter Companion, who says, I love how when the trio first entered the room, you can see each person's contribution to its contents. For Hermione, there are loads of books, presumably all much more useful and practical than that year's defense textbook. For Ron, there are cushions, a solution to his unpleasant experiences the previous year helping Harry learn how to stun. And for Harry, there are the items he associates with previous defense professors and some of his most intense experiences fighting the dark arts, such as Moody's Foeglass. In other words, the room is a combination of each of their experiences and expectations so far about combating the dark arts.